if they go wrong. Let's turn to the other state, and this, to my mind, is going to be one of the big results of 2021. And this is the state of Kerala. First, remember, this is a state where we've again gone, Rahul, to every constituency, presumably with methodology.
Absolutely. Not since 1982 has any government been voted back to power. So can Pinarayi Vijayan break that record of 4 decades plus to take the LDF back to power? What are your numbers telling you? Park that thought in your head.
Okay.
At this time, let's take you through the methodology that we've adapted, that we've followed in Kerala. 28,124 is our sample size. We've gone to every single constituency of the state, all 140s.
Okay, let's give you the numbers, and this is going to be stunning. This is a stunning result about to come, because exit poll, vote share, UDF, that's the Congress-led front, 38%, LDF is 47%, NDA is 12%, others are 3%. So 9% lead to the left Democratic Front led by the CPIM, NDA getting 12%, so the BJP down compared to last time, they got 14.8%. How is this translating into seats? And take a look at what has happened in Kerala as per Axis My India poll. If these polls are right, this is what we are predicting. UDF, 20 to 36. LDF, 104 to 120 out of 140. Pinarayi Vijayan, as per this poll, is heading for the biggest ever victory in the history of Kerala. This is a 3/4 victory in a state where elections are traditionally tightly fought. The UDF, the Congress-led alliance, way behind, 20 to 36. Remember, Rahul Gandhi is a MP from Wayanad. We're showing Sonia Gandhi's face there because she is the Congress's interim president. But this was the state that the Congress needs to win. NDA 0 to 2. They won 1 seat last time. They're winning more or less the same numbers. Others 0 to 2. But this, to my mind, is a result that will already send major political reverberations if it is true. And if it is true. But I must be honest, I traveled through Kerala and I sensed a Vijayan wave. And I think this poll has captured it. This is not a left wave. This is a wave for a man called Pinarayi Vijayan for his handling of COVID and for his handling of the floods round.
The data suggests that there is a huge pro-incumbency for the LDF government in the state of Kerala. And look out for the number of women who voted for Pinarayi Vijayan and the left. This is stunning what I'm about to tell you. The number of women who voted for the LDF is 50% against the UDF getting 35% of the women. That's a 15% gap between the number of women who voted for the left and for the Congress. Amongst the men, the left is ahead only by 3%. So 44% of the men said they voted for the left, 41% of the men said they voted for the UDF. So the gap is only 3%. Whereas amongst the women, the gap between the women and the men is 15%. 50% of the women saying they voted for the LDF, 35% of the women saying they voted for the UDF. Huge.
And the fact is that that food kit scheme, this was not a normal giving just dal, just giving chawal or gehu. You were giving oil, you were giving dal, you gave 18 items in a food kit to every household. Now, in a state like Kerala, at a time like COVID 2.0, when people are suffering, here is a chief minister whose that one scheme, I think, has made all the difference. Everywhere you went, people spoke of the food kit scheme of Chief Minister Vijayan. And in a state where, as you said, since 1977-82, you haven't had a government getting re-elected, this is rewriting, re-scripting Kerala's politics, but by a local leader, strong man, very decisive, some say authoritarian, but either way, he is the man of the moment for Kerala. He's chosen all the candidates, dropped senior left leaders like Thomas Isaac. This is his election. This is not the left winning, Rahul. This is Vijayan CPIM winning this election. In fact, the left will be worried with this because he'll become even stronger. And he's going to be a one-man show for the next 5 years. But if these numbers are right, Rahul, this is a huge result. And what does it mean to the Congress? Let's try and get a sense of that. This result, if translated Rahul Verma, you want to dive into that because Rahul Gandhi, your namesake, staked a lot of his personal political capital into Sandeep Shastri joining us. Sandeep, these numbers, if they hold, left decimating the Congress, what does it mean for the Congress in particular in a state where Rahul Gandhi is the MP, where he's put a lot of personal capital, where 2 years ago in Lok Sabha they won 19 out of 20, and now it's Vijayan all the way.
Rajdeep, if the exit poll numbers hold, I think three things. One, after 4 decades, a ruling party coming back, and never have you seen in the recent past such a gap between the alliances, both in terms of projected seats and in terms of projected votes. The exit poll is showing a gap which is unprecedented in Kerala. I think this implies a serious need for a second look within the Congress about what it's doing in the state. I think the BJP has cut into the UDF vote and not the LDF vote. And what we are seeing in our exit poll is the BJP seems to be stuck at 12%, which is not a significant improvement from the Lok Sabha poll. So I think in that sense, the Congress and the UDF has not got its act together. There has been infighting. Leadership is not very clear on who is the one they are projecting. Whereas on the other hand, the left had a clear leader. They also seem to have not only a good performance in COVID, but also in earlier crises.
Right.
So in that sense, our exit poll is showing an unprecedented
I want to clarify,
swing.
most other exit polls coming in from the Malayalam channels are showing again a left lead. So it's the trend is clear. We are just giving a sweep. Others are also giving 80 to 85. So Shama Mohammed of the Congress, this could be a huge setback for you. I mean, the amount you all invested through your party in Kerala, if you can't win Kerala, then something is dysfunctional with your party machine. 40 years of a cycle of anti-incumbency and you're being routed as per our poll.
Rajdeep, first and foremost, with due respect to you and Rahul, this is not the day to discuss the exit polls as we see the rising number of COVID cases and as many people are dying. And always the
Ma'am,
put it on
share
election.
your sentiments, but for now...
No, but one important point.
We share your
I just want
sentiments.
to put one important point. Everything is put on the Election Commission. But you should know that National Disaster Management Act is on. Section 35 was invoked last year when 6 inter-ministerial committees were formed to go to different states to find out if social distancing, various other COVID protocols were followed by these states. My question today is, why aren't you asking the government of today, why those protocols, why couldn't the Home Ministry pull up the EC and say, you know what, these COVID protocols are not happening.
Shama Mohammed, we ask that question every day, ma'am. Don't worry, we will hold the central... Don't worry, we will hold the government accountable for its handling of COVID.
I just want to make
We
this
are
point.
looking at the numbers, ma'am, of a rout at the moment.
But also, we have just about half an hour to spend on Kerala.
Hello.
We spend all our time.
Hello.
And India today, much more than any other network, has been focusing on every single aspect of the COVID pandemic, and we are hugely cognizant of it. Right now, we want to stick to Kerala because this is the evening of the exit poll. It doesn't for a second mean that we are taking our eyes off the COVID coverage. We have more reporters on the ground tracking every dimension of this story. I want to go across to Veera Raghav. 37% of the voters said they voted for development. Our polls suggest not just is the left coming back to power, it is coming back to power in style. And the Congress in that one state where they thought despite everything, they will be able to win in Kerala, that hope seems to, just be in the Arabian Sea, sinking and drowning at the moment.
It's a shocker. It's a big time shocker for the Congress, and I think Kerala will raise, if this exit poll results hold good, then the foothold for the Congress as the glue for a national opposition, or the larger argument of a pan-India a political force that still exists as an opposition, may come into question. It's a huge shocker, Rahul. I mean, through the narrative was it's going to be a close election, possibly edge to the left. One was looking at whether the Nair votes were going to shift to the Congress, but your exit poll seems to be suggesting something entirely different. And it's not just bad news for the Congress, but it's also bad news for the BJP because they're not growing in Kerala as far as your exit poll is concerned. Perhaps it's a decisive declaration, A, in favor, as Rajdeep was pointing out, to Pinarayi Vijayan and his governance. B, you need a strong leader even if you, even those opposed to the BJP at an ideological level would like to consolidate behind a strong leader and don't see a future within the Congress. It's a huge setback for the Congress if this is the result and if it holds
Sachidanand
good.
Murthy, traditionally also Hindus in Kerala have voted for the LDF. This poll suggests that the lion's share of the Hindu vote has gone to the LDF, and they've also been able to make a dent amongst the Muslims who typically have traditionally gone in larger numbers for the UDF. This time, part of the reason is that the Muslim vote has gravitated towards the LDF.
Yes, if the numbers are correct, then there is a strong shift among the Muslim voters, and also what is the extent of shifting of the Christian voters, because one of the new joinees of the Left Democratic Front was the Kerala Congress Mani, the dominant of the two groups in the Kerala Congress. They just joined the LDF ahead of the elections, and they were expected to do some damage in 2-3 constituencies, but how much of damage they have done across?
No, I can tell you the
Kerala,
numbers.
that's
Amongst the Christian voters of Kerala, 44% have voted for the LDF, 43% have voted for the UDF, which may seem like it's tight, but if you go back in past elections, Christians voted for the UDF in disproportionate numbers in comparison with the LDF. So looked at from that perspective, it begins to make a difference. According to the India Today Access My India exit poll, more Muslims this time have voted for the UDF than they have voted for the LDF than they have for the UDF. There's a 5% gap amongst the Muslims in favor of the LDF, which again is quite unprecedented, which is why they're winning as big as they are, according to this exit poll, because 50% of the Muslim voters indicated that they voted for the LDF in comparison with 45% suggesting, Sachidanand, that they voted for the UDF.
Yeah, because earlier the UDF was always known as the first MNC of India, that it was a coalition of Muslims, Nayars and Christians. And the LDF normally depended upon mainly the Hindu, especially the Ilava voters. So that was the kind of caste and religion divide which used to happen in several elections. But now that means if these big numbers of Muslims and Christians have voted for the LDF, then the Pinarayi Vijayan, by his personal charisma and also by his own kind of political engineering he would have done, especially after losing the Lok Sabha election so badly to the UDF, that is a remarkable comeback by him.
But Rajdeep, you keep crediting Pinarayi Vijayan. I want to contest that just for a bit.
Yes.
Which is to say that, yes, of course, the Chief Minister did well, but that's also because the opposition didn't do very much. If the opposition is strong, fighting, remember in 2019, the Congress won 19 seats out of 20. From there to spectacularly blow it up in this fashion shows that the opposition played really badly, apart from the fact that Pinarayi played well.
Let me be, and this is going to happen in more and more states, which is that people vote differently for a general election to a state election. We saw it in 2019 in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, states where the Congress won.
But they voted for the Congress.
No, just a minute. 4 months later, they swept and voted for Mr. Modi. So, just as they voted for the Congress and Rahul Gandhi as a potential Prime Minister in Kerala in 2019, in 2021 they've asked themselves the question, who is the best person to lead Kerala? And Pinarayi Vijayan, like him or not, has led from the front. Whether it's on floods, whether it's on Nipah virus, and whether it's on COVID, he's led from the front. LDF did a good job in the state, 76%. He just won a local body election.
76% amongst those who voted for the LDF.
That's right. So they've seen that the left has done a good job, right? Their voters have stuck with them. There's no anti-incumbency. My point is that if the Congress, let's be fair to the Congress again here in Kerala, Ramesh Chennitala tried to take on the government, corruption, gold scam, accusations in other cases, in giving away contracts for deep sea fishing. All these allegations were made against Pinarayi Vijayan. But at the end of the day, people are asking who's best for us. Now, when you are asked who's the best chief minister, take a look. 49%, I think, 45% are saying Pinarayi Vijayan. Uman Chandy is next, 27%, but he's not projected as the Congress's chief ministerial candidate because you're in the opposition, you don't. It's a badly factionalized Congress. Ramesh Chennitala, who's the leader of the opposition, is just 4%. The point, Rahul, is that if you have to topple a popular leader, it's very difficult. Pinarayi has emerged as a popular local regional leader, and that Shama Mohammed is something you're going to have to live with. that, you know, you can win a Lok Sabha election 19 out of 20, projecting Rahul Gandhi as a future Prime Minister. But when it comes to Vidhan Sabha, you need to localize yourself. You were swept out in the local body elections 5 months ago, and now you're being swept out again. This is suggestive that you don't empower regional leaders, the other side wins. The left gave Pinarayi a free hand.
Rajdeep, couple of points. One of them is that panchayat elections do not predict, what is going to happen in your assembly elections. Now, in the Bihar elections, what were the exit polls saying? And what was the final results? I'm telling you, the UDF is going to come through. You know why? Because he has sidelined very important leaders. One of those important things is E.P. Jayarajan sidelined, Thomas Isaac sidelined, P. Jayarajan sidelined, Kodiyeri Balakrishnan sidelined.
This is the Modi model, ma'am. Modi used to side. Just a minute. Mr. Modi would sideline every leader in Gujarat and would win elections after elections. I would often be asked, "Arey, wo sab sideline kar diya, kaise jeetta hai?" He's built a direct connect with the voter. Pinarayi Vijayan has followed a Modi model of a strongman leader who directly connects. Where is the Congress model? Where is the Congress model? You were fighting till the last moment for seats. Every seat there was a fight between the Antony faction and the so-called other faction in your Congress, Sudhakaran faction. You are a badly factionalized party in Kerala, and you're paying a price.
Rajdeep, what will happen at the end is because, okay, now can I speak?
Yes.
So a lot of CPM, when they're doing all these polling, they will say, yes, we are voting for Pinarayi Vijayan. But the faction of E.P. Jayarajan would not vote. The faction of Thomas Isaac would not vote. Or P. Jayarajan of
Ma'am, the ordinary voter is not interested in politics. He wants delivery. Why don't you all start understanding this?
No, but
they are not interested in your faction fighting. They want a leader. Kerala has found a leader today.
Yeah, so okay, so what have they delivered? They've delivered only kids. You know what we delivered before this? We have got in IT parks. We got the Kannur airport. We got jobs last time. It was only because of this allegation of the solar thing. We did most. We had the Karunya Pathati, which gave people free healthcare, about 2 lakhs. They could do surgeries free. We had done so much here.
No, but you're making a campaign speech. This is the wrong time for a campaign speech. All of this is done and dusted. Voters have cast their vote. We're putting out the exit poll numbers. It's likely to be wrong. There's a chance that it's likely to be right. There's a chance it could be wrong. But I want to go across to MB Rajesh, because at this moment, the Access My India exit poll is suggesting that the LDF, led by Pinarayi Vijayan, is not just coming back to power, it's coming back to power, sir, in style, bucking a 4-decade-old trend of governments alternating every 5 years. What are you making? Is this beyond your wildest imagination, 104 to 120 seats out of the 140 seats in the Kerala Assembly?
See, I think that this exit poll reflects the general mood of people in Kerala. Even before polls, all pre-poll surveys, I can tell you that all pre-poll surveys predicted that LDF will come back to power, and LDF is going to make history by changing the set norm of changing government after every elections. That is going to be changed this time. So this was the prediction in all pre-poll surveys. Now the exit poll survey is also predicting the same.
But Mr. Rajesh, is this a victory of the left or of Pinarayi Vijayan? And I want an honest answer. Many left leaders will fear this result because he will become bigger than the party. This is the first time that you are also caught in a personality cult. To some extent, you could say EMS Nambudripad was. But this is personality cult. Mr. Nambudripad was an apparatchik. At the end of the day, Pinarayi Vijayan is becoming bigger than the CPIM if these results are right. He's finishing an entire generation of left leaders.
Rajdeep, this is going to be the victory of a left alternative. The alternative policies pursued by the left Democratic Front government in Kerala, the alternative development trajectory introduced by the LDF government in Kerala is going to be the key for this huge victory in our state. And one more, I would like to clarify just one point. I don't want to argue with Shama Mohammed. Let her live in her dream world for 2 more days till the results come on 2nd of May. She has every right to live in her dream world. But I would like to clarify just one thing. See, in our party, nothing is decided by a single individual. Everything is a collective decision.
So, but that's the difference. In the manner in which this campaign was run, this in reality is a victory for Pinarayi Vijayan. This is not a victory for the Politburo. This has got nothing to do with what's happening in West Bengal or elsewhere. This is a victory for one man. Whether you like it or not, this is Pinarayi Vijayan leading the LDF in a Modi-style campaign. This is about Pinarayi. This is a referendum on your chief minister, and he's come up on top, which is completely contra to the way you typically like to run parties like the CPM.
5 years back, you were saying, all the media were saying that it was the victory of Comrade V.S. Sachidanand. So you always reduce left's advances to one single individual. That is your way of analyzing things. When,
a lot of friends from Kerala, though, are saying, looking at these numbers, are you saying that, you know, even in Malappuram, other parts where traditionally Muslim League has done well, which is an ally of UDF, there will be a sweep? I mean, there are two ways to look at it. One, it could be tighter in the sense that, you know, left may get 80, 90 instead of 100, but the trend is picked up. I think it's clear. The trend from...
You are hedging now.
No, I'm hedging because I think...
Some friends have
I'll tell you why.
Hedging.
No, I'll tell you why. I believe that Vijayan is winning. I am still a little hesitant about a sweep of this scale because Kerala, traditionally Rahul, has, you know, given one party 80, the other 60. They like a strong opposition. And there are pockets of influence of the Congress and its allies. If this result is true, I think it means Vijayan has transcended all the traditional boundaries of Kerala, whether it's caste, whether it's community, whether it's region. It will mean, you know, the kind of landslide election that comes once in every sort of generation. So if this is true, and it happened in the Lok Sabha, 19 out of 20 were won by the UDF. So I'm telling my the UDF guys who are sending me you have been bought over by Vijayan. All he gave me was fish curry, mango. He gave me some nice fish curry. He didn't buy me over. The only thing I can say
what,
is that
Rajdeep, just fish curry is all you ate and you've given him such a victory.
Then because I'll tell you why. In one of the places, I'm trying to Patnam Tita, away from the crowd, I met a woman. She was looking at the camera, and I went to her. She didn't want to speak initially. I said, "Who will you vote for?" She said, in translation, Vijayan. We asked why. No, good man. You see, this has gone down. People say corruption, gold scam, all these other issues. But down there, Shama Mohammed was saying, oh, the left is divided. Of course it is divided. But the average voter is not interested which faction you belong to.
No, but there
they
is no other
delivery.
strong... The likes
It's
of
the
Thomas Isaacs of the world are very nice people when you meet them.
No,
they
terrific ministers
they
also.
don't have that kind of connect that Pinarayi Vijayan does. That is the critical factor. I want to take you through the region-wise breakup of Kerala because this is an important factor. Out of the 140 seats, let's take, for example, Malabar, which is the biggest region of Kerala. Here, the LDF is expected to bag 46 seats, the UDF 17. And as far as vote share is concerned, the LDF has a 6% lead over the UDF. 47% of the vote for the LDF, 41% for the UDF in Malabar. Let's now come to the second biggest region, which is Travancore. In Travancore, the LDF is expected to sweep 44 seats for the LDF, just 4 seats for the UDF in Travancore. In Kochi, which is the smallest region of Kerala, which includes Ernakulam, Thrissur and Idukki, here, out of the 29 seats in Kochi, 22 seats expected to go towards the LDF, only 5 to the UDF. In every region of Kerala, including in the Malabar region, the LDF has, at the very least, a 6% lead over the UDF. If this was a tighter election, Rajdeep, like Kerala elections usually are, fought on a 1.5–2% margin, then my confidence interval would be lesser.
Absolutely.
Given what this exit poll has picked up, there is enough room over here for there to be some error and yet for this trend to hold very clearly.
You know, the good news is Pinarayi Vijayan said that if I win, I will invite you for another meal when I come to Delhi. So the only benefit I will get is 2 meals. As a journalist, I believe from politicians always take things which you cannot provide, which no one can sort of use against you later. So always take things that are consumable, whether it's a drink or food. Don't take anything that will be used against you as evidence. So Pinarayi Vijayan, if you win, don't miss the fish with mango curry. This time I want good fish with mango curry if you win. And Uman Chandi and Ramesh Chenitala, if you win and pull up a surprise, bring on the fish.
No, but if you call him a Modi and a Mundu, he's not going to like that.
I asked him that.
What?
He said, interview over.
That's it. Game over.
No more questions. Last question now. Anyway,
No,
that's the way it is.
but
We'll
he's
see how
built,
it goes.
He's built the LDF campaign around his personality. However, the left leader is right when MB Rajesh says that in the past as well, they've had, like Namburi Path, for example, from 1957 onwards, they've had strong leaders around whom the cult of the party has run. But the fact is that it's only in Kerala where the left flag is flying high. It's hardly in the game in West Bengal. It's completely been routed in Tripura. For some reason, in the state where the left won first, in the first assembly election in 1957, they continue to do well, reversing a 4-decade trend of the ruling party being voted out. This is a phenomenal performance by the left and by Pinarayi Vijayan at a time when the left is really wondering what's left of them.
Okay, let's take a break. Then we are moving from fish with mango curry to idli, dosa, sambar. When we return,
And we've
Tamil
had
Nadu and Puducherry.
and I just want to apologize with both hands folded to all the DMK leaders who've called since the morning requesting for the numbers. We haven't been able to give them to you because that's our editorial policy. Because, hey, if you already knew what we were going to say about Tamil Nadu, you wouldn't be watching at this moment anxiously waiting to